the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast.
Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd of September, 2020. Hey, gang, once again, I'm sorry, long time no talk to, but I'll tell you what, we are trying to get a live show going from our Discord here sometime before the week is up. But keeping that in mind, I thought I'd touch base on a few things. I've been very, very busy, and I apologize about that. One of the things I have done is I've got my cryptocurrency mining rig back up and running. I do mine cryptocurrencies, and after the lightning strike, there wasn't much equipment to work with. So I had all the equipment. The insurance company paid for it and everything. I just never got it up and running, but it is done. And that's the ambient hissing you hear in the background. It's a lot of fans, keeping everything cool, all that fun stuff. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about some common sense stuff having to do with the markets. We all know that the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P are all fake. It's loaded with fakery. It's a big bubble of fakery. But what people may or may not have noticed is that gold and silver have gone down quite a bit this week. In fact, let's open up another window here with our spot prices, because those are futures that I was showing you. $22.65. And just to put it all in perspective, it was $27 just a week ago. So let's take a look at gold. $18.59. A week ago, it was $19.59. So it's lost shed $100 on the spot value. And to be honest with you, this doesn't reflect anything other than more shenanigans really going on with everything from margin calls to spoofing, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I want to talk about the fixing of the gold and silver price. So the bonds are pretty much level with where they were before. You'll see that. The 3-month is a little bit lower than it was 3 months ago. Or I'm sorry, 3 months ago. And same thing with the 5-year. But everything else is pretty much tracking. I see that the 30-year is a little bit lower than it was. And that is interesting to me because money is going into bonds. Currency is going into bonds while it is still going into stocks. So let's look at a particular stock real well, so we can get a point across here of what a big bubble and how fake these numbers are. Michael Burry. I don't know if you guys remember a movie called The Big Short. It came out, it was about the 2008 financial crisis. But Michael Burry is basically calling out Tesla, saying that the stock is trading for about 18 times more than it's worth. And I'll have all the links down below like I always do, but it's an interesting read. But it is just one of the many tech stock bubbles that we have right now. It's like tech stock bubble 2.0 right now. We had it in 2019 too, before the major correction. Some stocks never really came back to where they were before. For instance, Netflix never really came back to where it was before. But Facebook, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, they all went back to where they were. Okay. An unprecedented money overhaul. The Fed is preparing to deposit digital dollars directly to each American. This is also a very, very interesting story. Bypassing the Treasury. Remember now, the Fed is only supposed to have two customers. One is the big banks, and they're the big banks that actually buy Treasury bonds. So that's Bank of America, Citibank, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and one or two others that I'm just forgetting right now. Those are, the customers of the Federal Reserve along with the United States government. But it looks like we're all about to become customers of the federal government, and they're talking about direct payments to the American people bypassing Congress and the Treasury. Now, why is that? Well, first of all, that's if Congress says they can do it. So why is that important? Because this right here, gang, is universal basic income. We've talked about it for years on our chat and Discord, and it looks like they want to start it even before the end of this year. Why is that important? That's your hyperinflation right there. So never stop preparing, because trust me, it's coming. They have to, this is the only way to try and keep the system alive a little bit longer, other than doing the honest thing, which is, declare bankruptcy and wipe out a lot of debt. Okay, next story. JP Morgan to pay record $1 billion settlement over precious metals and treasury manipulation. This has to do with the RICO charges we heard about last year. However, a lot of points to make on this, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. This is just to remind you guys, and for you guys to remind others, especially those who may not believe that precious metals are manipulated or that it's just a giant conspiracy theory that they're manipulated. Now, Planet Ponzi put out a tweet about this. So JP Morgan pays a kickback, aka bribe, to the CFTC for manipulation of gold and silver prices. No regulation. JPM's metals manipulation profits were likely much more than $1 billion. Here's the problem. I'll get back to that in a second. We have zero regulation at Max Kaiser. Remember this? Think they stopped? Okay, several points I want to make on this because, I don't know how much they made on this manipulation that they've done since 2015. And I suspect it's a lot. I suspect it's way more than $1 billion, but we don't know. We don't know how much money JP Morgan made doing this, how much currency they poured into their coffers with spoofing of metals prices, with literally using the profits from manipulating the markets to buy physical silver. This is illegal, and it happens under the Treasury, gang. I'm telling you, it's under the President of the United States. This is where they get their permission to go forward. Nod, nod, wink, wink, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't matter who you have in the White House. Trump is engaging in this manipulation. Obama did it. George Bush did it before him. Clinton did it before him. So there is and it's, okay, another point here. We have zero regulation. That is not true. What we have is a system that actually protects the criminals in the banking sector through the Treasury Department. And once again, gang, I'm not bashing Trump. Obama did it too. And so did George Bush. So did Clinton. So did George Bush before him. So did Reagan. I think that many people think that this is all about politics. You guys have to remember, I'm outside of the two-party system. I don't trust it. The two-party system is a scam. It doesn't matter who you have, if it's Trump, if it's Biden, it doesn't matter. The big banks will always be protected when they get caught in criminal activity until they don't. And so is Trump the man to do this? Well, apparently not in his first term. He can't do it in his first term. He needs a second term to do this. Is Biden any better? Absolutely not. So, pick your lame horse that you want to ride for the next 4 years. It's that simple. But I want you guys to understand that this is 100% illegal, and if you or I did this, we would get jail time, we would get massive fines, and, actually, I don't think there's any way any of us could get away with what JP Morgan does. We'd be caught and thrown in jail long before it ended up being a 5-year racketeer project going on. So, but at any rate, $1 billion settlement. Now that is a big settlement, but I think they made significantly more. Remember now, the rumor is they stacked as much as 650 million ounces of silver with the profits they made from spoofing the markets. So I'm not going to do the math on this, but I suspect they literally have a whole lot more profits in this than they're telling us. So it's okay, I guess, as long as we all understand that there's two sets of rules. There's one for the banks, and then there's one for you and me. As long as we understand that and we accept the criminality, we accept the fact that we can't do this, we accept the fact that the banks are always going to be allowed to get away with this. As long as we accept that, we're going to be fine. If we don't accept that, we've got a problem here, because it doesn't matter who you have elected in office, it still keeps happening. And that, in case in point, is what I'd like to discuss here in just a second. Okay, Trump to make Supreme Court nomination Friday or Saturday. Okay, this is all over the death of RGB, Ruth Gator Ginsburg. Okay, now's the time for you to give my thoughts to come out on this, because I've been watching this since the 90s, and it just doesn't matter who you put in the Supreme Court. When Scalia died, the conscience of the group died with him. He was probably, and now I'm not going to say that Clarence Thomas is not a good man. I'm just saying that he didn't have the strength to steer the court the way Scalia did into what was actually constitutional. So Thomas just doesn't have that sway over the court the way Scalia did. So taking out or killing Scalia, which I believe is what happened, was actually a very, very good move to basically get the Supreme Court to start legalizing all the criminality within the federal government and not looking into it. So to me, again, it doesn't matter. Trump, Obama, Bush, look who we got. We got Kavanaugh under Trump, and he is a severe disappointment. He's not interested in constitutionality at all. It seems to me he is working for someone else. What about Roberts, put in by Bush? He was supposed to be the strongest conservative choice. He was touted that way, and I don't care about conservative or liberal in the court. What I care about is the Constitution. And neither one of these parties gives a damn about the Constitution. This is all fluff. This is all fluff. It's a show. It's a virtual reality show for all of you guys to watch. So you can fight over something. And so you can root for your favorite person to go in there, or hate the party that has control over who's going in there. It is all a giant, massive distraction. That's all this is. It's the same thing with the presidential election, gang. So what do I have to say, in the big picture? Guys, we're in the beginning of the collapse. There's a lot of distractions to make you think that everything's going to be okay, or just things to distract you from actually preparing for the collapse. And I want to say another thing about preppers. I'm a prepper. I'm not a doomsday prepper, but I will tell you who are not preppers. And those are people who believe in the two-party political system in the United States. They generally aren't preppers. And there's a reason why. It's because they actually believe that the system is looking out for them, generally. Yeah, they're unhappy when the other party has the White House or the other party has the Senate. I don't think anyone cares about the House anymore. But the Senate's powerful, and so is the executive branch, and so is the court. So this is just a grand illusion to, literally distract you, to waste your time, to get you thinking about other things other than how badly you're being screwed by your government, by the banks. And once again, the government and the banks, let's go back to the story here. The Federal Reserve is about to start giving currency directly to the people if Congress approves. And we'd all have a digital wallet, like a cryptocurrency wallet. That's the reason why I was talking about my miner back there. But is this in the best interest of the American people? The answer is no. We need to move to an honest monetary system and get on with the collapse. We have to have the collapse. There's no way around having the collapse other than stretching out the pain for the lower and middle class and upper middle class for decades. Stretching out their pain till they are literally the poorest of the poor. And I do believe that may be part of their intentions. I don't know, but I basically am just trying to get across that you guys, and I know that most of you know this, but the two-party system is a sham, and we know this because what the banks do. So, I don't believe in this tension between Trump and Powell, tension between Biden and Trump. I don't believe it. These guys are all friends. They all work for the same people, the same masters. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that Trump is answering to the banks, but I suspect he is. I think Israel and the banks have a lot more pull on him than anyone else. If you go to Obama, it was just the banks. I mean, that was the only person that he answered to. Possibly, some Middle Eastern influence as well. If you go to George Bush Jr., he was controlled by energy concerns. It's pretty easy to see, that, they're not as autonomous as you think, these elected leaders, and they're transients. They just float in and out of office, and all they do is do the bidding of the people who put them in there. And I'm talking about the big money that put them in there. That's what I'm talking about. The links between Trump and Soros, between, with Kushner, his advisor, which happens to be the husband of his daughter, Ivanka. That should give us pause that Jared Kushner, who is the advisor to the president, owes, like $1 billion to Soros for some kind of real estate project. We don't think about these things. We don't think about the connections. We don't think about the relationships between these people. Guys, they all work for the same folks. J.P. Morgan, once again, $1 billion settlement on precious metals for and treasury manipulation. Holy God, gang, they keep getting caught and they keep getting fined, but they never get shut down and they certainly don't get prosecuted. This is a settlement. This wasn't a thing they did in court. This wasn't exposed. If it were, we'd find out exactly how much money J.P. Morgan made doing these illegal things. And then the people would say no to $1 billion settlement. They would say, no, we need a $400 billion settlement with J.P. Morgan because that's how much money they made, or whatever it is they made. We just don't know. But it is clearly missing from the story. We don't know how much the government is saying they made. It is missing, and this is important. Guys, this is not justice. So I'm used to it. I'm not even upset about it. This is just business as usual, with the executive branch, the President of the United States. I've seen it my entire adult life since I got into silver. But the thing is I just need you guys to know that Trump is not going to save us from this. He is not going to shut down the manipulation. He is not draining the swamp. And if you drain the swamp, you'll get rid of all this, this giant financial nightmare that we find ourselves in right now. This massive bubble that they intend to keep blowing up. So prep. And if you're part of the two-party system and you think that prepping is a waste of time, something that only stupid or deranged people do, then I pray for you. There's a reason why people prep the way they do. Is because the politicians and the bankers do not have your back. They have each other's backs, but they don't have yours. So, but at any rate, that's all I have for now. Just wanted to make you guys aware that we are still here, still alive, still kicking, just a little busy. But we intend to do a live stream from our Discord group sometime in the very near future. Don't know exactly when. Looking for possibly Friday, tomorrow night. No, that would be Thursday. It'd be Friday night or Saturday night is my best guess right now, but we still have to get the gang together for it. So hopefully you guys can tune in when it happens. We'll talk about all kinds of interesting stuff. And one of the others is one that we'd like to talk about is the probability of a second lockdown nationwide. Seems to be a lot of whispers, about that happening sometime in the near future, just in time for the presidential election cycle. And, that's okay because I'm staying home. So, I'll do exactly what the government wants anyway. I'll just stay home. I'm not going to vote. Maybe we'll talk about that too. What are the virtues of voting versus not voting? And we'll talk about that in the live stream. I'll see if I can bring that up. Okay, you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day. I've missed all of you. Hopefully we can get some more podcasts out real soon. You guys take care. May God bless you all.